Welcome to this podcast episode in Starseed Gathering, this lovely sacred place where I help people sharing their spiritual business. You will hear about a specific guest today that has so many gifts for the world, and I'm very excited for you to be here. Just open your heart and allow anything that is shared during this conversation to touch your soul and your heart on the highest level. And if you need any more support, you can contact the guest with the links below and myself also linked below. So wishing you a beautiful podcast episode listening right now. Beautiful souls, welcome to Starseed Gathering podcast. I'm super excited to have Alice with me. She is a beautiful soul in Europe right now, and she's a spiritual psychologist. In this podcast, we invite a lot of the spiritual entrepreneurs, whatever background they have, wherever they are on this planet. So I'm super excited to have you here. I would love to hear about your spiritual path, what created this big womb. Okay, I want to help others with this. I know you also relate to the word starseed. So tell us anything that you would love to share with the audience today, beautiful, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Annabelle, for creating this platform and supporting us all to get the word out and to be visible. There's so much to tell. Just very briefly where I came from. I'm educated as a normal psychologist. That's the only thing I knew back then. I don't know if there's actually education for spiritual psychologists. But I started as originally, and I worked with refugees because I had this feeling already from very young. I want to elevate the suffering at this world. I mean, ridiculously big, right? I understand now with my starseed background where that comes from, where that comes in from. So I thought refugees, the best place to do that. So once I graduated as a psychologist, I started working in many refugee camps around the world. Did a lot of that kind of work, made programs to work with child soldiers and all that kind of work. Really, really beautiful work. And then I met my husband on the way. We had kids on the way. He also worked with refugees, and we traveled the world. And our kids grew up in that environment, going to international schools with other people, other children from embassies or UN or NGOs. I was working for NGOs. Beautiful, beautiful life. Really, really nice. Until the last place we were as a family in Athens, because lots of refugees in Greece, right, coming from all over. And I felt like, this itch. There's something more. And I was working with trauma. I'm really specialized in trauma. And the trauma healing is pretty limited when you look from a normal perspective from psychology. So I looked further and further, and I came along something more physical, tension releasing exercises. Wow, did that for a while, worked with people for a while, then started to work with adults more. It's like, oh, that's really great. But still, I was like, Now in hindsight, it's like, oh, it's all within the matrix. It's all within the 3D reality that we're working. And I felt something, but I didn't know what it was. And then I worked with the subconscious mind, quantum energy healing. It's like, whoa, okay, now we can get to the trauma and actually change it there, and super powerful. But again, after doing that for a few years with clients, use it myself, amazing. Still that feeling, I don't know. By that time, I was spiritual, already started to be more interested. Never heard of starseeds, God forbid, in those days. Anything out there that was still within my safe psychology space. Okay, I was quantum healing, but I didn't really come out as such. It was kind of on the edge, right? Where can I come out with? Is it okay still as a psychologist? And then my spiritual journey took me further out of the family. My eldest went to study. My youngest went with my husband to Geneva. He was 16 at the time. It was a beautiful time to bond with him, to bond more with my husband, who has been away a lot for his refugee work. Anyway, long story short, I went on my own to Mallorca. And I was there for a bit, and I was in a point that I thought, I had my own business already for then. I went online because it was COVID, everything. There was still that feeling. I don't know, something is missing, right? Then you have healed all your trauma, amazing, but that is kind of an okay life. And I was like, I don't want an okay life. And still, I had not heard of anything. It's like 5 years ago. And then so one day I said, I don't want to do what I do anymore. I stopped. I took my course off the internet. I stopped my clients. I had no clue why. I was like, there must be something more. I don't know what it is. I'm going to lay in my hammock. I don't know if that's the best way to do these things. I spent 3 days in my hammock in beautiful Mallorca thinking, I don't know. I'm open. You give it to me. And I was on my phone scrolling, and a man was talking about, I forgot his name, Chris something, was talking about the superconscious. And I remember, oh, still my hairs will go up. I remember every cell in my body started to be active and awake. I was like, I have no clue what he talks about, but this is so amazing. This was the time I was ready to hear it. Because of course I've heard about it before. And my friend was like, I told you about that before. You were never interested. I said, really? All right. I was ready. And then I started to educate myself in that, became good in quantum healing, certified, started work with people with that. Absolutely amazing. Then I was in the south of France, which was not too far from Mallorca, in Spain. There was a workshop, there was a seminar. What is it? 5 days. What do you call that? And there was about quantum jumping. And every jump I made was outside of Earth. First, it was in Orion with all kind of super weird creatures. I can remember coming back from that one in shock. Or there was another jump in an UFO where I was alone. I'm thinking, what is all these windows here? Oh shit, I'm in a ship, and it was one jump after the other, totally weird. And then people started telling me, "You're a starseed," and I'm like, "A star what?" And then I said, "I don't want to do this anymore. This is just it's crazy." Right. And I stopped it. I stayed on Earth with all my quantum jumps, just being in the future when I'm all abundant. And it's like that was not important, of course. I felt scattered after that. I felt in 100 pieces. I had no clue who I was. For weeks, really, I had no idea. And then I asked a friend of mine. I had a group that I gathered in Mallorca. We were all this very quantum, psychic, witchy kind of people. I was like, guys, you need to come and support me. And they are tuned in. They're like, where are you? I said, I don't know. Who am I? So they started to pull the pieces back. And I closed everything, and that was it for me. Of course, it didn't stay there. I mean, then I got curious, and then slowly I came back. Took a long time to get back to the space where I was then, which was absolutely open to everything, right? Being there now. But that really got me on this journey with Starseeds. And I was having my own business and doing courses and everything around the true self, as I called it, and coming home, and all of that was already there, working with clients and workshops, whatever. And then there was a moment that I started to do the quantum healing. And then once you do that, you're constantly in the field. So before, in the beginning, it's very structured, and more I let go of the structure. And I started channeling. And then at a certain point, I was doing live channeling every week within my community. And then this outer space people came in. I remember the first time was like, what? So then, and it was so beautiful. So I absolutely opened up to that. And now that is fully open. And funny enough, actually, by this time, I'm channeling less and less. I'm way more having my human experience from that space of I'm home. And maybe to describe it differently, I everything I've been doing was always connect to, now I call it your higher self. You might call it your soul or your spirit, whatever. And now working with people, let's keep it in my story, but I really started to connect with that. But I'm like, oh, that was a beautiful insight as well. everything is then outside, right? Okay, I'm this star seed, and I love to connect. I love to have all this information. I love to, but it's all there, and there I'm in this higher frequency and in this space, and it's super amazing. But I'm a psychologist. I'm about human life, right? I'm about having a fulfilled, great life. So I'm like, that's just two different things. And the more I speak with, and I speak with a lot of star seeds of the community that I have, and the programs that I'm doing now that are solely for star seeds, they're so good to be out there. I was, but the life here, there's financial issues, there are relationship issues, there's not feeling belonging, there's so many issues here. So that really attracted my interest, mixing my psychology and my star seed and that information together, right? Yeah. So sorry, I just, once you set me to talk, I keep talking, right? But to finish that, so then I'm there was a moment I was channeling, and the message was very clear. You need to start working with star seeds. I had not come out of the closet of being a star seed and working with that. And I was so scared, Annabelle. I had already a YouTube channel, just started. I'm like, ah. I felt I might be prosecuted, or they might come after me at a certain point, or there was really fear. And I think it was 1 or 2 months, and I had a coach, and with her we talked about it, how to step more into that. And I was scared, but at a certain point it was like it felt so strong, and it became so much me. Because before you hear something, you're like, yeah, sure, but I don't know. But then I really embodied it, and it felt me, and I was like, yes, okay, I'm still scared, and that's okay, but I'm still going to do it. So that's has it been ever since. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that because we don't know each other much, but I was a social worker in mental health and addiction before I became a channeler, a healer, a coach, whatever titles we can have. And yeah, I can totally understand how you're like those two pieces. For me, I remember the social work part, which is less in the mind, more in the very how to get money and programs
Yeah.
and get
Yeah.
get you connected to the resources in your community. I used to love that, but there was always like this same question for me. It's like, yeah, but I feel like there's something more I should be doing. Like I feel there's like something else. And then I could see that, people would feel good around me. Like I understand really early on that my energy was, alchemizing something, and people would feel good with me. But then that didn't last in time, right? It would just be like, you can't be with me 24/7. So whether it was people, family, friends, or clients, I was like, I don't know, there's something more. Like I was like, I wanted to empower people. And in my field, social work was very, very like limited what you could do, what you can do with the clients and the projects that you wanted to do. It was very limited. Um, and I understand all of the things that you went through, the fear of stepping outside of your box that you've always been in, but also like the expansion that you feel when you connect there, because you're like, wow, this is so beautiful. But then at some point you need to merge the two together, because we're not living there in meditation, right? We're here on
Absolutely.
earth. And that's, I think, for a lot of us star seeds, it's one of the most difficult, because once we connect there, we don't want to be here. We're like,
Yeah.
man, it's a lot more nice out there, but it doesn't bring you money necessarily to be in meditation all day, right? And you need to be able to anchor those
Yeah.
beautiful energies here. So how do you support people doing that beautiful?
Yeah. That's exactly, yeah. That's what I noticed so much, and that's why I felt, okay, what I want to do is to step into that gap, of to bridge that gap, right? So how I do it, I created a Starseed. I need to get a title right. Starseed Living one-on-one mentorship program. So there, in 90 days or less, I really mentor people. Because before I did courses, and then people, once the course finishes, you know how it goes. It was great, it was beautiful, and then life goes on, and you're back to square one very quickly. So I really want to make sure that, especially starseeds, they're getting there, they started to live there. So what I do is I first connect them with their higher self, and I have a very simple way of doing that, to step into that energy. And I do that, I can just shortly explain that. I do that with creating a circle You could just imagine a circle. And then in that circle, you can designate as being whatever you want. So we're stepping first in a victim circle. That is your victim. That is your matrix. That is your 3D. And while they sit in it, while you imagine you're in it, you feel it. And then look at your life or look at an issue from your life from that perspective. Great. You know it, very familiar, feels very yucky, feels very stuck, feels very not easy. Okay, let's get rid of it. Let's do the same, but now we create a creator circle, or the circle, the higher self, right? And while you sit in it, I talk you through it and make you feel that is what you are, this love and this light, and you feel it, right? And you feel it, how it is to be in that energy and how you feel in that energy. And that is what that's what it starts with. I actually do now, because the program is much longer. I now started to do 5 days free journeys for people having this experience. So let me explain that one more. So we start there with that day one, boom, let's do that. So you feel what that is. And then I teach you ways, okay, within the matrix, teach you how to notice more what happens in the matrix when you get distracted, when you're going back in your patterns, when you're agitated about something, whatever. And then teach you 4 steps to disentangle from it, to rise above it, to come back to your circle in the beginning. And then in day 3 already there, which is in the program much longer, but in the 5-day journey is day 3, we're going to switch them really around 180 degrees. Because what we normally do is I'm connecting with my higher self, I'm connecting with my Arcturian, it's all out there. But no. So day 3 is like 180 degree switch. Oh, I'm actually am my higher self. It was never gone. It's always been there, right? It's always been with me. And I'm that. And from there, I have a human experience. And you've heard it. We all have heard it. But then to feel it, really, to really feel, oh, okay, I'm that light, I'm that love. And there's my human having a human experience. And then letting that come through your human. So then we continue with surrendering, really, or more and more being able to stay there by noticing, when do I lose myself? Because I'm this at all times. And when I'm not feeling it's because I lost myself. How did I lose myself? And I like then to put a few things there, like maybe you are that warrior that works really hard. I was a real warrior, still at times, works really, really hard, right? Gives and does, and or is overly sportive or does something too much, basically, right? Losing yourself in there. This is very strong. I mean, I'm meeting a lot of starseed moms, many kids doing everything, real warriors. Amazing. But it's great. You can do all that. But often it's losing yourself in that, right? Not feeling who you truly are. Or you might be a merger, how I call it. You merge with other people. So many starseed, great merges, right? Merging with other people's energy. Your energy is great. Other person energy is low. And you're, oh, there I am, supporting you. Merger. But that's when you deny yourself. That's when you're not longer who you are. And then I have a third one I like, is you flee in your dreams, or you flee in analyzing everything, being very analytical. I used to be, very evidence-based and thinking everything over, needing to understand first before I could go into no longer that. That doesn't work anymore, right? But those things, that's to become aware, when do I lose or deny myself, and come back and come back and come back, because this is what I am. And then the last one is indeed surrender. So that is what I do in this journey. I do it regular. So yeah, it would be great if you feel called, come and join. And what I hear from people once they've done that, it's like you hear stories back. Like one woman is like, I'm normally with authorities, I find it very difficult. I police, when I do something wrong, a policeman, whatever, I always get a fine because I always get in a fight. And she said, once I did the 5 days, it was so tangible, so beautiful. She said, I by accident, I shortcutted a policeman. And normally I would be angry. And said, now I sat in my circle. And it was so nice. I had a nice chat with the policeman. I came away with a warning. That never happened.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful, right? And another person that it's in a family of kids. I mean, normally if something happens, a kid put something against the car and scratch the car a bit. And anyway, normally says I would be absolutely angry, frustrated, angry, and all that. And now it's like, just let's try again, right? And she said, my youngest came back after that and says, Mommy, you're the best mom in the world. And she just realized, like, oh, yeah, normally I would get angry. Normally I would get irritated. And now there was just so much patience and seeing the other from their beauty and light as well, right? So really beautiful. And the way what I add in my program, that's much longer, we go way deeper into it. But essentially it comes down to connect with your light, connect with your higher self, and allowing that to really come in your life in all aspects of your life. And one element I add there, because of course we're starseeds, the program is really for starseeds, is that connection with your higher self, your spirit guides, and your guardian angels. So I really have them sitting around. We create a virtual table. So it's really an exercise. Okay, create that virtual table. And we already have done a lot of the connecting with your higher self by then. So your frequency is rising. You already know who you are by then. And then we connect to your spirit team and you invite them in one by one, sitting on the chair on your table. And that is where you really meet them. And that's how you, if you're ready for it, can really see how they look. Because if you work with starseed, those going to be strange creatures if you're not used to it, right? The first time I met a dragon, I was like, what? Right. That's absolutely weird. So, and there to really meet them and see who they are and meet family members from above or here who passed away, that whoever is in your team, and then start back and forth conversations with them. So really teach people that. And again, it's not about that, but it helps you to get more information on your life lesson, on your mission, and anything that you're dealing with, how to create more of that life here on Earth. Because really, it's beautiful to connect, but it's so beautiful here as well, right? I think it's amazing, this Earth. I really love it. And when you are living from that space, you see more beauty in the life here. Of course, if you're struggling, no fun, absolutely no fun. And I believe a lot of the struggling is not knowing where you give your power away to that matrix, because there's so many things we're still entangled with. The stories, the things you buy into, so much entanglement, and it's not serving you. So really to start noticing, that's how I do it. And then rise above it, connect with who you are and see it from there. And it looks absolutely different.
Wow. Yeah, I really can see how much the level of consciousness, the awareness can be developed and make your whole life experience be completely different once you start to have those experiences. And I love like they're showing me right now, it's like if you're stepping into another different version of yourself that sees differently, that has different eyes, that looks at things in different ways, that feels a different way about your situation and gives you a lot more empowerment through it too. Instead of being in this very, very strict 3D victim person that can't move forward because it's always complicated, then you have more opportunity, you have more answers, and you have probably the letting go of, like, even if you push on something, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be, right? It's just that how to kind of be more in the flow and allowing more. I think what I've seen also with my starseed clients is that a lot of us are very attached to serving and sacrificing and helping, but it's like
that's why I'm here.
Right, but also you need to receive, and you need to love your life, and you need to enjoy things that are making you feel good. So like, how can you be in this equilibrium in your life, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I see really if people really step into or come back home in the light that they are really, and that shine from there, regardless of what you do, right? First that, and then second in your life. So all these aspects of your life, just to shine it in there by really allowing that all to unfold, because it's all coming to you, really. If you just get out of the way, it's just beautifully unfolding. Absolutely. We were just talking about that before we came on. Like, things just, if they need to be, they need to be beautiful. And it's always for the better. It's always for you, right? And I find it so, I mean, me included at times, we think we know so much better. Me, my human, I think I can figure it out. I can do it all, and I need to figure it out, and I need to make things happen. And in the end, I don't think so.
All
No.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely true. I think the ego, right? The mind wants to find results, wants to find a way of, if you're in a state or something you don't like in your life because it's not what you wish to experience,
Yeah.
for example, right? And then it was gonna try so many different things. Maybe we should do this, or then maybe we should go there, or maybe we should knock at this door, maybe this, then that, and it just never ends. And then if you actually allow things to unfold, first, it makes you feel a lot more empowered because if we're pushing and we're trying to fix something that we're not supposed to be fixing, we're losing all of this energy doing something that is not really worthy at the in the end. Of course, we're all learning. I'm still pushing sometimes, and then I'm remembering, oh yeah, right. I need to let go and let the universe tell me
Yeah.
what's next,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's a very I think once we start to be in this empowerment position in our life, we work to dance with the universe, not to confront it, not to push when it's not time to push, to trust that if I don't have my answers right now, maybe it's because I'm not supposed to have my answers right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And there's also something you said I want to hook into, if that's the English word. The way we look at our ego, the way we look at, the things that are limit us, right? And that's what I get back from a lot of people. I love to talk to the ego with so much compassion and love, because it's there doing its best to keep us safe, right? It only knows what you have given it. It only knows the limitation that you have raised your ego, so to speak. So it doesn't want you to go to places where what's unfamiliar. So on your spiritual journey is one big unfamiliar territory. You letting go and allowing, and it sounds beautiful. Your ego is freaking out. And all that being stuck and limitness and unworthiness or whatever it is that you experience. Often we don't like it. We don't want it, right? And then it's like, so we give a lot, which actually we give a lot of more power to it by resisting it, right? But then just look at I like to just look at the ego of this person. I like to just see it as who's just trying so much his best. I'm trying to keep you safe. I'm keeping you safe. Stay stuck. Don't do anything because I don't know what's going to happen there. Although you suffer really hard, I see, but at least you're alive. We did it already for 20 years, worked well, right? So let's keep doing it. So then to have so much compassion and love for that and work with it in that way. Yeah, I like that. And on my mentorship program, the last day is, I love that one. We're doing a guided visualization where actually we invite the ego to come with. Right? It's not the ego there and I am here. No, you join me on this beautiful journey that I'm having. You come with me, and I would like you to be part of it. Right? I want you to be part of it. I want you to come and see how amazing this is.
Right.
Yeah, well, normally the rest is all around, okay, compassion and love for the ego, and we try not to have it too big of a voice, right? By you stepping more in what you are. But in the end, it's like, no, you're all of that. So let's invite it along. So yeah, I wanted to share that as well.
Yeah, I
Because
love
we often
that.
are so negative towards the things that are not working in our life.
Exactly. And I also love to share this part, like this part of you is also suffering and it sees that it's like it doesn't want you to get hurt. It doesn't want you to, fears of failure, fears of success, even like fear of like you change something and we're gonna be ostracized or
whatever is going to happen in this limitation that they see, that part of you sees. But when we give it a voice, not for it to actually lead our actions, but not just to, because if we're trying to like push it in the corner, it needs a voice. It needs to be just acknowledged, like it's a part of you that now is freaking out. Can you put it on the table and have a conversation with that part of you so that, all right, okay. And as you said, as we bring our higher self into the mix, the higher self is going to be able to hold all of these pieces of you, the parts that's scared, the inner child, the ego part, all of those parts can be held in love, and then it's a lot easier to move forward. As you said, resistance just keeps you locked in that frequency anyway.
And
So
it costs a lot of energy. I like the image of keeping a ball underwater. You need to have a lot of pushing that down, right? So it costs a lot of energy, and it really wants to come up. And once you let it out, poof, I mean, it's a little bit of an explosion then, but okay, then we can work with it. Yeah.
exactly. It loses its grips once it's seen, because those parts of ourselves are not seen, right? The shadow parts of ourselves, we usually don't want to connect to them. We see them bubbling and we push them back down, and we push them back down because we want to be strong and we want to move forward. But if we don't acknowledge them, they're still in the background holding us back anyway. So I love the way that you're explaining your work with our beautiful star seed. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, which is interesting as well, because as a psychologist, it's all about healing, of course. And I still call myself spiritual psychologist. But actually, I'm not there about healing anymore. I so much more about connecting with who you are, connecting with your higher self, and start living from there. That's where it's all about. And then sometimes, so in our mentorship, only in the end, once people feel more who they are and start living from there, if there is still some resistance because of old trauma that just didn't want to come along, yeah, it just couldn't, it's just too hard. Okay, let's then use quantum healing, or yes, then let's use a cellular release technique I teach people how to use themselves. Okay, then let it go, but not in the beginning, because I feel once you do, I mean, you can do your whole life trauma work. There's always more. There's always other lives. I mean, it's a not ending procedure, but it's also pretty heavy and hard work when you are in a low vibration, right? I rather have people already be in a life that is almost you don't notice anymore, but there's still some resistance there. Okay, from that space, it's so easy to let it go. You're not attached to it. You're ready, basically. Yeah.
Right, because sometimes I think parts of ourselves are kind of attached to those pieces of ourselves, right? And it's like hard to let it go if that's the only thing you think you are, right? Why would I leave the victim mentality if I've been a victim all my life and I still connect to my trauma and I still see myself there? Then if I have raised my vibration enough to know that I'm not only the past trauma that I have gone through, but I'm so much more than that. And now if there's any strings attached to whatever I've gone through, I'm able to cut the cords and let go of the things that are not serving me from a more smooth way of doing it. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah,
Beautiful.
absolutely. And that's the part where people find it sometimes a bit tricky, right? But I have issues, I have problems, and we're so conditioned. I first need to get rid of that. And only then I connect with my higher self and can live from there. And I'm like, no, we can, with all your issues, we can do that. We can actually get there and have you live from there. And then whatever is on the way and is causing a lot of resistance, we gently let go of that. But it's not first one and then the other. Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, in conditioning, you're right. We have so many things. We should be doing A, B, C before we get to D. And there's always that. No, what if you come from A, we go directly to D?
But then we do healing after that. I said, no, not really the main focus. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's interesting.
And I know you have a Facebook group for Starseeds, and you have probably a website and everything. What are the platforms that you would like people to connect to actually reach out to you through? But what's the best place to connect
thanks
with
for
you?
that. The easiest way is actually to go to aliceroorda.com, because there you find my Facebook group, because it's called Starseed Living, and I put a star in front, and apparently you can't find it easy, which I kind of like. So it's a bit of secluded, because I don't want everyone to just come in. So that's good. But we have quite a large community there. So through my website, that is easiest, aliceroorda.com. And there you find things about the program and the 5-day challenge if you want that. It's all there. You can see the latest and sign up there. And I have a YouTube channel, also Alice Roorda, Spiritual Psychologist. You Google that, you find me. Yeah, it's at Alice Roorda. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Any last words before we end, beautiful, that you'd like to share?
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like really beautiful starseeds. It's such a pleasure for us being here all together, right? I feel it's so amazing. So if you are someone that feels there is home and here is not, I really want to invite you to bring more of what you are here in this life. You signed up here to come here for these super exciting times. And there's a way, there's many people that do that. I do that, but you do it, many other people that can support you to bring you back to who you are, to be home here on this planet. I mean, how amazing is that, right? And yes, your star family is there to support you, but you are there to support yourself also, and use others helping you with that. But it is really amazing here. So I just wish for all these star seeds out there to get more feeling of how beautiful this earth is, and to create great stories when you go back home.
Right, exactly. Oh, I
Yeah.
felt it so much when you said that we were so many. And I think it's beautiful that we actually connect more and more together, because I think a big part of the spiritual community slash starseed journey is that we feel very lonely. So if
Yeah,
you want to be part of
absolutely.
a community, join Alice's community, any other community where you feel seen, where you feel like you have a place, and yes, get a mentor and however you want to actually anchor yourself and root yourself on this planet. We all have to go through that part where we felt there was home and not here. But if we really want ascension to go smoothly, we need to anchor our light here. There's no way around it. So
Yeah.
thank you, Alice, to help all of these beautiful souls to do that, to feel home here. It's such a beautiful mission that you have. Lovely.
Thank you. Thank you, Annabelle.
You're welcome. So we'll see y'all in the next one. All of Alice's information will be below. Bye, everyone.